Hello, welcome to the Real Bit Wars. I'm Chris, and today we're going to do things a little bit differently. So most of you have probably heard that I'll be hosting YouTuber of the Month this year. That will be the #1 priority. However, I would still like to do some other videos, like the pickups videos that I usually do, but we're going to change the format a little bit to try and reduce the amount of editing that I have to do. So these are going to run longer. They won't be flashy or anything, not that they usually are anyway, but I'll strictly just share with you the things I pick up, give you a few thoughts, and then move along. So, as usual, I want to share the games that I've beat for the first time. So, this first one is actually the first of my pickups as well. Master Chew and the Drunkard Who. One of those unlicensed Color Dream games and the baby blue cart. Pretty awful. But it's short. It didn't take very long to beat it. So, if you don't know about this game, up is jump. And so A and B, one is like an attack and the other one is to deflect enemy projectiles. It takes a little getting used to, but even at that, it's not that difficult to beat. You do need that mechanic of deflecting the enemy fire in order to really succeed, but it's just like a collectathon. You backtrack a lot. If you got used to it, this is something you could probably speed run in just a few minutes. And the rest of these are games that I already had, but I beat for the first time. Pac-Mania, an isometric take on Pac-Man. I played through this a few times previously and didn't know I was pretty close to actually defeating it. This time when I got to the end, I thought, oh wow, that's it already. So I was close a couple of times before and didn't even know it. But this is fun. I like this game a lot. I'd recommend checking it out. And we have Crackout, one of those Palcom ones, so technically this is a Konami game, PAL exclusive. It's like the Brick Breaker or Arkanoid style game. I could not imagine trying to beat this without the password system. There's just no way. It's way too difficult. Then on top of it, to complete the game in full, you uncover a password as you go along, and it's like along the sides of the screen. You get one letter at a time. And I didn't even know that. So I had to backtrack, and the password is Merry Christmas. I was like, come on, man. But still, I love this style of game, so I enjoyed playing it. Here's another one, Kickle Cubicle. I couldn't imagine doing this without the passwords. So some of you might have seen the video I did last year where I picked up Lolo 3, so I completed that trilogy. Love all three of the games. I played through and beat the third one right away when I got it, and I just wanted something more, like more of the same, I guess you could say. And I was looking through my collection, and I thought, well, here, this is similar enough, so yeah. This one kind of captivated me for a little while, and I played and played until I beat it. I wouldn't say it's as good as Lolo, but this is still solid. If you're into those like action puzzle games, which I definitely am, this is definitely one that you could check out. All right, the next one, another NES game. This is actually a homebrew. So I shared this in an MGC video a couple years back. I picked this game up. Space Raf is a band, and I went to high school with the bass player. He was a friend of mine way back in the day, and then the guy that designed the manual for this is also another one of my friends from high school. And the whole thing takes place in Milwaukee, so go Bucks, baby. And it shows a lot of kind of iconic monuments in there. The levels take place at different venues where bands play and things like that. It's relatively short. I did die once and had to start over, but it's neat. And I got to have a conversation with the singer because he's the one that developed the game. He said he wants to potentially do another one, and he's actually going to get some education to be a game developer full time. So kind of cool. And this also, I got it with the soundtrack on cassette tape. All right, now I have one for the countdown here on the NES. Star Trek: The Next Generation. I actually have not gotten around to playing this just yet. So I don't have anything to say about it, but what I really like about picking this up is there are a couple of Star Trek games on the NES, and every time I see one out at a game store or whatever, it confuses me as to which one I have and which one I don't. And I'm glad I can just put that to rest. It's always nice when things kind of take your time from you needlessly, that you can just eliminate that from the hobby. And this is in solid condition. It is a former rental from the looks of things. There's a couple little like dings on the front, but I'm pretty satisfied with that. I did test it just to make it sure it works, but I haven't actually played the game just yet. Okay, now I'll bore you with the books. I always like to share that. But I have some interesting stuff here. So, this is the Doomsday ship, Star Wars. So, if you don't know the Galaxy of Fear, that's basically a Star Wars version of the Goosebumps books. So, these are intended for kids, but I'm trying to complete this set, and this is actually the rarest of the bunch. So, there's only a couple more I need, but they're pretty common, and I should have an easy enough time finding those to complete this set. And they're individually numbered there. This one's number 10. So yeah, I was excited to find that. Usually these are pretty collectible, and it was cheap. This next book is video game related. Movie making nerd, James Rolfe, aka the AVGN. I love his channel. I always have, and I can relate to a lot of what he says in this. Much like him, when I was a kid, I was like an aspiring movie maker. Like I dreamt of being a director, much like he has. Obviously, later on in life, we took very different paths. He's pretty successful at what he does. But just because of that, because of how I could relate to this, I loved it so much. And then the subject matter. I've been following his channel as long as it's been around. So it was nice to kind of hear him tell these more personal stories about himself. I highly recommend checking this out. Fantastic book. And from what I can tell, he wrote this himself. I don't know if he had like a ghostwriter involved or anything. Sounds like he more or less just kind of kept memoirs and published them. So definitely worth reading. And we do have a couple of DVDs here I picked up at a thrift store the other day. I like these compilations, so 20 horror movies, why not? And for some reason, this called to me, even though it's not really my thing to collect cartoon series from my childhood. It's the first 27 episodes of DuckTales. I thought, maybe I'll watch it, maybe I won't, but the thought of revisiting those early episodes of this show was really appealing to me, so I went ahead and got it because it was really cheap. We do have some more thrift store finds. I just got these very recently. There were some video games at my thrift store. That doesn't happen much anymore. First, I have a couple of computer games. Dungeon Master 2. I have the first one on the Super Nintendo, so I thought it would be kind of neat to have the sequel as well. And then Red Mars. I could find no information about this whatsoever. Just says strategy, exploration, and tactics all combined in one. And then I did a video last year showing my Star Wars trilogy collection. Found a version of it I did not have. This is just the Blu-ray trilogy, all in one single case, but they're in nice condition. It has the slip cover on it, so more than likely, no doubt about it, really, these are going to be the special editions. But again, I collect the different versions, so I was happy to find that. And then this was really cool. There were 3 PS2 games at my local thrift store. All of them are racing games. None are really all that valuable or anything, but it was exciting to find them. They're all in great condition. So we got the World of Outlaws Sprint Car. No scratches on these discs whatsoever, and look at how minty the manual is there. Another Sprint Car one, Road to Knoxville. Again, nice crisp looking manual there. And then we got Saturday Night Speedway. I thought it was kind of cool. This says Atari on it. And then on the inside, it does have the Atari stickers. Whoop, almost dropped it. And we got a nice clean manual on that one too. Yeah, PS2 games out in the wild. I have not had that happen in a very, very long time. Then lastly, we have some more video games here. So usually for imports, I like to collect everything complete. But I settled for a loose cartridge. This is Spark World, and the reason why I wanted to get this is it's a Bomberman clone. And as you all probably know, I love that series. It's my favorite series. So this had been on my wish list for quite a long time, probably like a decade. I'd never played it before, but because of its ties with the Bomberman games, I had to check it out, and it's not nearly as good as Bomberman. So, in the regular Bomberman games, you have like a battle mode and a story mode. This one, the story mode is basically the same as the battle mode, and it doesn't execute quite as well. There's like one enemy in particular that's way overpowered and will defeat you easily, and it just kind of takes the fun out of it rather than having this kind of learning curve where the difficulty gradually increases. It just kind of throws you in, and it's not that great. So I'm disappointed, but hey, it happens. All right. Then I got this GBA game. I talk about this too much on the channel, but trying to get all of the Tiny Toons and Animaniacs games. I'll pull this out of the bag real quick. But this is for the GBA. It was also released on the DS, but I don't have a DS, so I opted to get this one. But Lights, Camera, Action, Animaniacs. Again, this is another one. I haven't actually gotten around to playing this yet, but I've been looking for this for a while, and to find it nice and cheap just for a few dollars was nice. Okay, and lastly, I have 2 more games for the countdown, this time for the Super Nintendo. It's crazy. I'm dwindling down that Super Nintendo collection. There are a lot of soccer games that I need. This was one of them. Super Soccer Champ. All in all, not bad. Not a terrible game. I'm not really into the sport of soccer. But video games can be an exception to that sometimes. But I did find it was a little difficult. It was hard to pick up. The other team felt a little too overpowered, kind of like Spark World. It made it less fun than what it could have been. And then I do have one more, but where in the world? Oh, right here. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Boom! So a couple of countdown games for the SNES. Oh man, it's been a heck of a journey collecting these games. I've been working on this for a very, very long time, like 20 years, I think. Super Nintendo was the first console I collected for. So I'm in no hurry, but definitely it's a bucket list thing that I want to complete this Super Nintendo set. And it's so fun when I get new ones and I get to check another one off the list. And yeah, I don't have much to say about this game though. This is not really my style. Didn't play very deep into it, just checked it out for about 10-15 minutes. But yeah, that does it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoy these new videos, because this is probably going to be more so what I will do until I can get kind of caught up on the YouTuber of the Month stuff, but it's not a bad thing. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.